So if you have seen Ad Astra in the past, what I'm going to show you today is going to be quite a bit different than what you've maybe seen in the past. Along with that, we also wanted to make sure that our application was 100% mobile friendly. Everything that you see today is also accessible from your mobile device or your tablet device. So that was something that we wanted to make sure we were answering the call to kind of the market's needs, making sure that you could do that from a mobile device. Inside of this new platform, we also have the ability, or we also have continuous deployment. So long gone are those days where you have to worry about taking that next greatest and latest release. With continuous deployment, we're able to constantly push out new enhancements, features, and bug fixes to you on a weekly or daily basis. One of the other added benefits with getting those fixes immediately is that we're also able to keep you informed of those changes by having some like in-app engagements that will kind of flag you and say, hey, this is new inside of the product. Come and check it out if you want. Lastly, we also wanted to address any accessibility concerns that we may have, making sure that our product is accessible to the entire client base. All right, let's go ahead and get into the product. So you guys should still be seeing my screen. I'm hoping, okay.
Yeah,
so,
looks good.
Okay, thank you, Maggie. This is the new events app. Obviously, I'm on the desktop version, but it looks almost identical on your mobile device as well. So this is just showing me exactly what's going on for today inside of my campus. So right now, I'm not really filtered down to anything. You can see this top event is in Adams 108. That's my building and room location. Down here is in Bartlett 230. So this isn't filtered at all. This is just kind of showing me all of the events that are taking place today. What's nice about this is you can still, you can make edits from this screen. If I needed to make a change in end time or start time, those types of things can all be handled right here from this screen. We also have the option of a week view. So this is going to show all of the events that are happening in the week at my institution. Right now, I'm just showcasing events, but we also have the option of bringing in your, excuse me, your academic sections, right? So you can have your academic sections living side by side with your events. Most institutions are kind of sharing that space. So we want to make sure that we don't have any conflicts or double bookings occurring. We also have a month view available. Granted, most of these views become more and more valuable as you guys start filtering and kind of tailoring your experience to the information that's most important to you. So we do have some filters available here. So if you wanted to filter down to maybe just your building or events of a certain status or color or owner, those types of things are all available. You do also have the option of saving your filters. So, you know, then you don't have to kind of recreate those filters over and over again. All right. Lastly, let me show you one more view before we dig into the event record itself. So this is our timeline view. The big difference between calendar and timeline is that timeline has your room records down here on the left-hand side and the times of day across the top. So easily still be able to see what's going on in the day. Also allows you to kind of see the white space that you have available where you can put in additional events in that day. Again, same functionality available here if you needed to change the start time or end time of your events, or maybe even just change the room of your event in here as well. Again, we've got the day view, the week view, and then if you're looking for that 30,000 foot view, we also have a month view available as well. All right, so let's go ahead and dig into an event record itself. So I'm going to pick on this one, Academic Support Study Group. So At the very top, you can see some basic information about my events. I can see the name. I'm the current owner of this event. I can easily change it to another user in the system. We also have these color categories. So this is what is determining the color that you're showing on the calendar. This is just a way that you can categorize your events and then display those colors on the calendar. We also have your typical or traditional statuses available here. And then we also have the option of sharing your sharing this event, or I guess I should say share settings. So you can choose to have a private event inside of Astra. So if you don't want any of the event details or even the title of the event to appear on the calendar, even for those internal users, you can set it to be private, and it will simply hold the space, but won't show any of the details about that event. By default, all of our events will be displayed to your organizational members, so they're able to see the information about that event. And then lastly, you can also publish your event. So if this is a featured event that you want to appear on your institution's public calendar, this can appear, or you can mark it as published, and then this event will appear on that public calendar. I'll show you guys what that looks like in just a moment. This is going to be just a description of your event. So I have an agenda populated in there, and then you can obviously put in your expected attendance for your event. So right now I have Bartlett Hall 162 selected for this event. If I click on that, I can see a drop-down menu of other rooms that I can select. So it's going to show me rooms that are potentially unavailable, or because this is a recurring meeting, some rooms that may have some partial conflicts, as well as other unavailable rooms, or even some that have insufficient capacity. So since it knows that I have 20, I'm expecting 20, it doesn't want me to pick a room that has only 18 seats in it. So all of our rooms can have a address associated with them. So this will populate Google Maps for me. What's really nice about this is if you happen to expose event scheduling or event requesting to your community members, allowing them to see kind of where that building is on your campus is just kind of a nice to have. Also, this room is currently in a pending status. So if it had been acted upon, or if I am the approver of this room, this is where I can come in and either approve or deny the use of this particular room. So we also have a concept of tags. So this is basically just another way that you can categorize your events on campus. And these tags can then be used in your calendar and be able to filter, right? Filter your calendar based off of these tags. We have the ability to add attachments, and I've also added a picture. This picture will be displayed on my public calendar because this event is marked as published. And this is where you're able to add resources. So it's going to show me I still have a couple of resources that I can add to this event. We have resource conflict checking, right? Making sure that you know, we're not overbooking any of your resources, those types of things. And then this is what it looks like once someone has acted upon that request. So you can see that I approved the use of this projector, and we're keeping track of who made that action as well as on what date. Then a little bit lower here, we've got our guests. So this is where you can invite people to join you for this meeting. So in here, I've added the entire math department to this study group. So everyone that is in that group receives an email saying, hey, you've been added to this event. They can either go and check it out inside of Ad Astra, or they can easily just click on the ICS file that's included in that email to add this event to their personal calendars. And you can invite, users of the system or non-users of the system, and that email will still go out inviting them to this event. And towards the bottom here, this is for internal use only. So none of your guests will see this information. This is basically where you can notify other internal users that some action or assistance is maybe needed for this event. So in this case, I have tagged Matt Cook and asked him to unlock the doors for this particular event. So Matt will receive a notification inside of the system that says, hey, Matt, you need to unlock the doors for this particular event that's coming up. And it will flag him that he's associated with that event and has kind of a task associated with that event. If Matt is not a common user of Ad Astra and really isn't in here to see those notifications, then we will email him and basically say, hey, you have a task that's been associated to you. Please go check out this notification inside the system. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the room record itself. So I kind of showed you how a room record could be approved or denied, right? But we also need to determine who actually can either approve or deny the use of that room. So that brings us to the room record itself. So we're looking at Bartlett Hall 140. We've marked this room available for booking, and then I've given a basic description of some of the features that are available inside of this room. Again, this is my address and kind of the Google map view of this building, given it a capacity, and then I've also added a tag. So tags in this instance is just a way that you guys can group your rooms. Often we hear about institutions that kind of have maybe a central scheduling group of rooms that they can use. So using tags is one way that you could kind of group all of those rooms together for your schedulers. And then again, these tags can be used within your calendar views. I've added a picture to this room record, and then here is where we determine who can either approve or deny the use of this room. So for Bartlett 140, it's either myself or Beatriz that can approve or deny this. And that goes for any event that has been scheduled in the system or requested in the system by someone that's not an administrator or comes through as an event request through the event request process. All right, and then down below here, talking about that event request process, right? That's generally for people that are not users of the system, but want to request the use of space on your campus. You can ask additional questions to those requesters based off of which room or resource they have selected. So if you select Bartlett Hall 140 inside of the event request process, we're going to have 2 additional kind of questions that need to be answered before we can approve or deny the use of this particular room. So in this case, it's how many parking spaces will you need, as well as do you need security to unlock the door? So the exact same process is available for resources. So if I go ahead and take a look at my podium resource, I can see in this instance, I have 4 approvers of the podium, and then I have 1 additional question that will be prompted if anyone requests a podium through the event request process. So let me show you what that event request process looks like. So this is our kind of very first phase of event requesting inside of this new application. And we're taking a very different stance than what we have in the past. So we are ideally looking for one form to be able to kind of do all of the things, right? And be able to send off the approvals as you would want them to, right? Based off of this room, Beatrice approves that the use of it versus the podium, then Crystal approves it, those types of things. And being able to have dynamic questions based off of the information that has been put into the form. So I'm going to put in the name of my event. Something else we have done is try and streamline the event request process as much as possible for that event requester. Typically, we see a lot of those requesters are not very familiar with the event request process and maybe have not used the software at all ever before. So we're trying to make this as simple and easy to fill out as possible. So you'll notice we have like 1 or 2 questions kind of per page, and clearly see kind of that next action that user needs to take so that they can flow through this process. All right, so I put in my name, put in the description of my event, and then I put in how many attendees I'm going to have. Go ahead and pick my dates along with my start and end time. So we have several plans on making this process easier and easier as we go, right? So being able to limit how far out into the future your guests are able to request events, as well as limiting the start time and end time, and even the length of the event that can take place. I think right now we're only allowing 2 hours for the length of that event. Okay, and then we get to our space. So our requesters can see a list of the space. We do show unavailable rooms here, basically so that if someone is looking for a specific room, they're not wondering why it's not on this list. So users can come in here, see if the room is available. They can also see the capacity of that room, as well as any features that are inside of that room. Once again, because we put in the attendance of our event, you can see whether or not you have insufficient capacity for the event that you're trying to find a room for. We're going to go ahead and pick Bartlett 140. And then we are going to select our resources of podium. And then we're going to go ahead and put in our contact information. So because the system knows who I am, it's going to allow me to just continue through this process. If the system does not recognize my email address, it will create a record for me. And the reason that we're doing that is we really want the ability for that event requester to be able to go back into the system and figure out where their event request is in the process, right? Has my room been approved? Has my resource been approved? You know, am I in kind of that scheduled state that I need to be? And we also want them to be able to come back into the system and potentially make changes to their original event request. So obviously we'll need to have some guardrails around that, right? So being able to say, as an institution, I don't want an event requester to be able to make any changes to that event request unless it's at least 5 days before the event takes place. Something along those lines, right? Where you guys have configuration to say when that's a-okay to happen. But if a change is made, then it will kind of re-kick off that workflow to say, okay, now we need to have our room reapproved and our resources reapproved because maybe the time of the event was changed. The reason we're trying to do that is really to offload a lot of that email traffic that event schedulers get, as they get a lot of requests, right, for some of those changes. And so we're trying to expand that tool set for those event requesters so that they can do a little bit more self-service than what maybe they've had available in the past. Okay, so this is just giving me a quick summary of what's available, and then I can submit my request. Okay, so again, kind of our first phase of the event request process, but we have a lot of big plans on kind of expanding functionality there, which is pretty fun. All right, so now if I were, say that I was kind of an approver, right? And I am a room approver. I can come to my event list and I can filter this list down to tasks that are assigned to me. So that's going to limit this list to any event that has tasks assigned to me. I could also limit this list to any requested events. So this is almost kind of like, almost like your to-do list, right? So you can come in here and you can look at your events that have that are in a requested status and take whatever action you need in order to get that out of requested status. And as you work through these requests, as you make these scheduled, then they'll just kind of drop off of this list. Same concept if you are, say, a room or resource approver. I would filter this list to tasks assigned to me. Anytime that an event has, right, a room that I am the approver of, it's going to appear on this list as something that I need to do. So if I click on this one, I'm going to see that I'm the owner of Adams 115 and I have not approved or denied the use of that room. What's nice is if you're a list person, this is exactly where you want to go. If you're more visual, you can use the exact same filters here on your calendar, right? So I'm still filtering this to tasks assigned to me so I can kind of see kind of what's coming up. Granted, I have a lot of outstanding rooms that are not approved, but I can come in here and simply take whatever action I need to take on that event to get it off of this screen. Okay. All right, now let me show you guys, I think the last piece that I haven't shown just quite yet, and that is our public calendar view. So we talked about being able to mark an event as published, and that would show up on our public calendar. This is kind of the very first iteration of our public calendar. So this is meant to be exposed to your community or non-Astra users, where they can come in and kind of see the activity that's happening on campus, right? Those featured events that you want to show on this calendar. So this is our gallery view where you can see kind of the pictures and kind of a robust view of each event. We also have the ability to have a more traditional calendar view if you prefer this one rather than the others. This can also be filtered. I'm looking at a specific month. You can filter it down to a specific week or a day. And then you also have the option to allow event requesting straight from your calendar, right? So I can click on this and this is going to take me to that event request process all over again. So just something that's there and available if you would like it. All right, let me go back to my slideshow here and talk about a couple of the future features that we have coming up. I think I've mentioned a couple of these during the presentation already, but I want to make sure I didn't miss any of them. So from that public calendar view, we are planning on adding event registration process in there. So if you want to allow your users to click on an event, and then put in their information in order to register for that event. That's the type of functionality we're planning on adding. We also want the ability to have kind of ticketing functionality, right? So someone's signing up for an event, but they also need to pay for that event. Being able to have that all embedded inside of the product so that users can come, register, as well as purchase tickets for that event. Immediately after that functionality is added, we're planning on adding invoicing functionality and capabilities to the platform. So being able to identify which events and which event meetings you would like to charge for, create estimates, as well as creating invoices and sending invoices to those correct parties is something that we're pretty excited about adding to the platform. Next is that requester view and edit capabilities. So mentioned this before, having that requester have the ability to come in and view the status of their event request, as well as making changes to that event request. And again, kind of kickstarting that workflow all over again, so that we're kind of taking care of that event well before the event actually takes place. And then lastly is reporting. So we are planning on connecting this events app with our reporting engine so that you guys can get the reports and data that you need from the application when you need it. All right. So that is it for the presentation section. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to put those in the chat. Maggie and I will be here to answer any questions for you. We're happy to help you out.